Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. DishNet34 here, welcoming you to tonight's episode of This Week in Perfect Team, episode number 190. Oh boy, how's it going, everybody? So, once again, like I said in the chat earlier, please bear with me tonight, because I am recovering from a little bit of a cold, so that's why you're getting base DishNet here tonight. Oh man. So, hopefully y'all have had a good week so far. I know it's been, let's just say, challenging in a lot of respects. But tonight, we've got some great cards for you all tonight. Excuse me. Oof. We got some Hall of Famers, potential Hall of Famers, maybe a future Hall of Famer here tonight as well. So, let's go ahead and get right to it. Oh man, what a night we have for y'all tonight. Normally pitched voice, yeah. This is usually what happens when I recover from a cold, because because it's just kind of how the old body works sometimes when it comes to my voice. You know, this is just end stages of a cold and everything. So if I have to mute a couple times to cough, it's all that good stuff. So. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a look at, the current Perfect League standings. Let me go ahead and move myself over here. There we go. And we take a look at the AC East Division. We have the False Hustle in first place with a record of 56-44. A one-half game lead up on the 56-45 Anaheim Emperors. Excuse me. Then the AC Central, we have the Providence Friars at 58-42, a 4-game lead on the New York Highlanders at 54-46. So a little bit of a tight race in those two divisions. Another tight race going on in the AC West Division. We have the Glacier Grizzlies at 58-43 at a .574 win percentage, 1 game up on the Rockford Peaches at 57-44. And then in the AC Cobb Division, we have the Castroville Mashers with a record of 54-46, 8.5 games up on the Clarkston Cougars for first place in that division. So we got the Providence Friars in first place in the conference, and you got the Glacier Grizzlies in second, False Hustle in third, and then you got the Anaheim Emperors. Pretty much quite a few good teams right there at the top. Need some tea with honey and lemon? You know what? I've had that before. It's not bad. Might actually, I do have some water right here. Might help a little bit. Ah, there we go. That's a little better. That's a little better. But you know what? I'll probably get some tea and honey later. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Let's move on to the NC East Division. We have another tight race over there. Really, all of these division races in the National Conference are very, very close. You got the Crozet Storm Kings in first place in the NC East Division, 1/2 game up on the Zanarkand Abbes. We're at 56-44. 3 games up on the Jersey Revolutionize. We're at 54-47. In the NC Central Division, top 4 teams in that division, all within 3 games of each other. Bellingham Bells at 52-48, 1.5 games up on both the New Orleans Crescents and the San Diego Swingers. PGH Beaches in fourth with a 49-51 record. In the NC West Division, you got the GKT in first place with a record of 63-38, 2 games up on the Kane County Cougars. And finally, in the NC Seaver Division, you got the 90s Expansions in first place, 1/2 game up on the Erie Seawolves, 3 games up on the Florence Baycats. So very close races in a lot of these Perfect League divisions. So we will see how that will shake out once Sunday comes around for the Perfect League playoffs. We will once again be broadcasting the Perfect League World Series on Sunday night. Don't forget, tune in for that on Sunday night. All fun stuff going on this week. All right, and real quick. So hashtag advertisement right here. Say, you know all those stats that I put in all those slides and some of the fun facts that I give y'all on a regular basis. Those are mostly, if not all of them, powered by StatHead, powered by Baseball Reference. And you know what? I want y'all to share in my joy of using that StatHead service. So, right now, until July 1st, 2023, if you use the code 23OOTP25 at checkout, you can save $25 off of an annual baseball or all sports subscription to StatHead. Let me tell you, this is awesome stuff right here. I use it a lot when I just want to look up some random baseball facts. And, some of those stats, I've used in some of these slides in the previous This Week in Perfect Teams. It is very much worth it. $25 off. That is a significant amount. That is code 23OOTP25 for $25 off an annual baseball or all sports subscription to StatHead. And it's not just baseball for StatHead. No. It's used for football, basketball, and hockey as well. So lots of sports covered under that StatHead umbrella. So there you go. Some good stuff there. Badminton, you know what? Probably not. We might need to talk with Sports Reference about badminton. Maybe curling. You know what? Curling. That would be something fun for Sports Reference to cover statistically. Curling would be very, very fun. Let's see. No, I don't see soccer, Nico. I don't see soccer on here. That's very interesting. Yeah, I know. There are sports other than baseball. It's crazy. All right, so now let's move on to some cards of the evening. And we are going to start off with a couple of limited edition cards on the evening. And we start off, and we have two 100-copy LE cards on the evening. Our first one is a silver card. We have 72 overall, right-handed starter Tom Seaver from the 1984 Chicago White Sox. Kind of a late career Tom Seaver card right here from the 1984 season. 68 stuff, 54 movement, 90 control, fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and sinker combo. Pretty decent fastball, pretty decent sinker as well. 96 stamina, 24 on the hold runners. Now, despite Tom Seaver's oldish age, had a pretty decent season for the White Sox in 1984. 15-11 with a 3.95 ERA, a 1.05 ERA plus that year. 5 strikeouts per 9, 2.3 walks per 9. Now, this was his first of 2 years with the Chicago White Sox, and a very interesting part of how Seaver got on the White Sox is that he was picked up in a free agent dispersal draft. I didn't really get the chance to research that draft a whole lot, but that sounds pretty darn interesting right there. So that's definitely something I'll have to look up a little bit later on. I forget why that free agent dispersal draft happened. Was it because of a lockout or something like that? Or strike resolution? Okay, that makes sense, Quiz Kid. Strike resolution. That was kind of one of those thoughts that was going through my head in terms of why there would be that kind of a draft. But you know what? That does make sense now that I really think about that. It's pretty good. Another fun fact about his time with the White Sox. On May 9th of 1984, he won 2 games in 1 day, which was very, very fascinating here. So basically what happened was, he pitched the 25th and final inning of a game that was suspended the day before. So that's a long freaking game in and of itself. He picked up the win in relief in that one, and then started that day's regularly scheduled game against the Milwaukee Brewers and won that one as well. So in a weird kind of sense, he won 2 games in 1 day. It's absolutely insane. So there you go. Tom Seaver from the 1984 Chicago White Sox is in Perfect Team 23. All right, next up. Yeah, it was a Baines homer that ended that 25-inning game. That is true. Next up, we got ourselves one more 100 copy limited edition card, and we stay in the middle of the country, and we give you 80 overall Marty Marion, shortstop from the 1942 St. Louis Cardinals. 77 BABIP, 7 power, 79 avoid K, 74 contact, 99 gap power, and 63 on the eye. Not getting him for his bat. No. You're getting him for that stellar defense at shortstop. 96 range, 93 error, 90 on the infield arm, and a 103 on the turn double play. Holy moly. 61 speed, 84 stealing, 61 on the base running. Very good bunter as well. 109 sack bunt and a 93 on the bunt for a hit. Yeah, exclamation point bunt in the chat. My goodness. Now this guy, a little bit better against lefties in some categories than he is against righties. Definitely a lot more avoid K, a lot more gap power against lefties, but you're going to get a little more BABIP and a little bit more contact overall against righties. So a very interesting kind of card right here. Kind of very interesting splits. And Marty Marion, if I can, let me double check. He was a right-handed hitter. So he's got some better splits in some areas against lefties, but does have a few better splits against righties as well. So it's kind of a mixed bag right there. Yeah, those defensive ratings, just absolutely sick right there. So there you go. Marty Marion. 276, 343, 375 for Mr. Marion in 1942 season with a 103 OPS plus. Had 38 doubles, 54 RBI on the year. Did not hit a single home run on the year. However, he finished 7th in the NL MVP vote that year. And this was the second of 6 seasons in a row where he garnered MVP votes, culminating in his 1944 MVP season. Now, 1942, statistically, is actually his best hitting season with that 103 OPS plus. Did not have an ERA plus, an OPS plus above 100 the rest of his career, which is just absolutely insane. Those 38 doubles led the National League. But you know what? When you help lead the Cardinals to a World Series championship in 1942, that's pretty darn good right there. He installed a slip and slide his position so he could cover more range. Maybe. Yeah, how did he win MVP without a below 100 OPS? That's a damn good question. Because I mean, Bill Nicholson had the better year. Stan Musial, his freaking teammate, had a much better season than anybody in the National League. He had 8.9 wins above replacement. Bill Nicholson had 33 homers, 116 runs, 122 RBI. Stan Musial hit 347 with a 990 OPS, 197 hits, 8.9 WAR. What were they thinking? So there you go. Marty Marion from the 1942 St. Louis Cardinals in Perfect Team 23. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the actual content of the main content of the evening. And that is our Hall of Famers set. Yes, packable cards based on some of the players that are on the 2023 Baseball Writers Association of America Hall of Fame ballot. and maybe a future Hall of Famer as well. We'll see. We'll see. So let's go ahead and get started tonight. And we start with a silver card. A silver card on the evening. Our lone silver card of the pack. And we start off with right-handed starting pitcher from the Cincinnati Reds, Bronson Arroyo. 60 stuff, 54 movement, 83 control, fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, sinker, and cutter on his pitching repertoire. Yeah, this guy probably will not be a Hall of Famer. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Yeah, add kitchen sink to his list of pitches. Yeah, and even a kitchen sink would get hit out of the ballpark off of Bronson Arroyo. A little bit better against righties than he is against lefties. I mean, relatively. 86 stamina, 69 on the hold runners. Flyball pitcher does not have a lot of velocity on him. 89 to 91. Yeah, this guy. I mean, you know what? Maybe a 128 guitar rating. You know what? Let's go with that. A 128 guitar rating. It's pretty good. He had a pretty lengthy career, all things considered, with baseball here. From 2000 to 2017, 148 and 137 career record with a 4.28 ERA, 5.8 strikeouts per nine, 2.4 walks per nine. Somehow, some way, this guy was an all-star in 2006. How good was he in 2006? Well, went 14-11 with a 3.29 ERA for the Cincinnati Reds, who finished third in the NL Central that year. Led the league in games started and innings pitched that year. His lone all-star selection. Somehow won a Gold Glove in the 2010 season, which that amazed me. In the same season where he actually won the most games he ever won in a career, 17 in 2010. He was part of that 2004 Boston Red Sox World Series team a couple years before he went over to the Cincinnati Reds. However, this guy's going to give up a lot of long bombs, more than likely. I mean, career 1.3 home runs per nine. I find this part fascinating right here. And that is that the Reds actually gave him 14 starts for some reason in the 2017 season with a 7.35 ERA. How many home runs per nine? Well, I'm glad you asked. 2.9 home runs per nine. 40-year-old Bronson Arroyo just doing some soft tossing apparently. But you know what? He did eat up a lot of innings in his career. And you know what? Back in those days when, innings eaters were very much valuable players for baseball teams, that's pretty darn good right there. And I mean, you can still make the case that, innings eaters are very valuable for a lot of baseball teams. But you know what? Bronson Arroyo was one of those guys during his career. So, winning record in his career, his ERA plus in his career, right around league average, 101. So, I mean, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but you know what? It was a pretty decent career. Go watch his leg kick on YouTube. Yeah, his leg kick was Hall of Fame worthy. I will say that. That is a Hall of Fame leg kick. You cannot convince me otherwise. So there you go. Bronson Arroyo from the Cincinnati Reds in Perfect Team 23. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next card, our lone gold card of the set. And it is from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 85 overall right-handed pitcher, Jared Weaver. 78 stuff, 76 movement, 92 on the control. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and sinker combo on his pitches. A little bit better against righties than he is against lefties. 79 stuff, 75 movement, 94. Actually, no, 76 movement, 94 control. 77 stuff, 75 movement, 90 control against left-handed batters. I mean, okay, so Jared Weaver, he actually did hit 90 miles an hour at one point in his career. I will say that. At his peak, he did pitch that fast. 87 stamina, 35 on the hold runners. Bit of a fly ball pitcher. Yeah, definitely a bit of a fly ball pitcher. Just ask Maglio Ordonez and Carlos Guillen. I'll just say that. From 2006 to 2017, finished with a 150 and 98 record with a 3.63 ERA, 7.1 strikeouts per 9, 2.4 walks per 9. Three-time All-Star in his career. He finished top 5 in the Cy Young voting 3 times. He had some very solid seasons in his career, all things considered. Had a 20-game winning season in 2012, had 18 wins in 2014. You know, he had some very solid years. Another 18 wins in 2011. Led the AL in wins in 2012 and 2014, and led MLB in WHIP with a 1.018 WHIP in that 2012 season. Definitely his best year of his career. He was good, but he was a bit of a creation of Angel Stadium. His delivery would camouflage the ball. Oh, yeah. I mean, Weaver, another one of those guys with a little bit of a funky delivery, would kind of go like darn near halfway off the mound with his plant foot, which was just kind of crazy, you know. Personally, I'd actually try to recreate that most times, to be quite honest. Changeup was around 79. That's a huge difference, making his 90-mile-an-hour fastball seem faster. That's true. That's true. He had a fun delivery. He did have a fun delivery. I will say that. So there you go. Jared Weaver from the LA Angels in Perfect Team 23. There we go. A little more water. That should help out a little bit. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish if my green screen were bigger, I would try to show off that delivery. But you know what? That might be a bit of a work hazard, given how unathletic I am. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next card of the evening. Yeah, camera and setup looks way better today. You know what? This is actually the first This Week in Perfect Team that I'm using my brand new webcam tonight. So I've been using it since last Friday, actually. So I've been liking this one. Yep, no fuzz. No fuzz at all. And that's what I love about it. So great. All right, our next card of the evening. We're going to start get into diamond cards here tonight. And we're going to stay in the AL West with this one and go to a guy that started out as a catcher, moved to first base, and that's where he really made his mark in the big leagues. And that, my friends, from the Texas Rangers, 90 overall, Mike Napoli. Mike Napoli, 70 BABIP, 99 power, 64 avoid K, 91 contact, 81 gap power, and 89 on the eye. A little bit better against lefties than he is against righties, with 70 BABIP, 101 power, 64 avoid K, 92 contact, 81 gap, and 93 on the eye. Yeah, Mike Scioscia never trusted him. That's true. That's true. Can play catcher and can play first base. Can play first base a lot better than he can play catcher. Let's be honest here. 65 catcher ability, 69 catcher arm, 70 infield range, 55 infield error, 51 arm, and 38 on the turn double play. 25 speed, 51 stealing, and 50 on the base running. So yeah, Mike Napoli started out as a catcher with the Angels. Played a little bit of first base, I believe, when Kendrys Morales went down with that season-ending injury off that walk-off homer. And he was kind of serviceable there, but he was always in kind of a kind of a battle for the starting catcher position between him and the immortal Jeff Mathis. Mike Scioscia loved defense, and he valued Jeff Mathis a lot better than he did Mike Napoli. And, Napoli did get some playing time here and there because of his bat, but he didn't really, he had some good seasons part-time in LA, but it wasn't really until he went to Texas that he really, he kind of found his stride a little bit. He had some good seasons in LA, but Texas is where he really made his mark in those couple years he was there. Had his best hitting season of his career. His first year in Texas in 2011 had 30 homers, 75 RBI, a 320 batting average. Just feel like he was freed a little bit. Yeah, remember when he lost to the Giants in 2010 and then to the Cardinals in 2011? You know what? That's also true right there. But he did win the World Series in 2013 with the Boston Red Sox, which pains my soul to say. But he was a 2012 All-Star with the Texas Rangers, had 8 seasons of 20 or more homers. He hit 246, 346, 475 on the slash line in his career, 267 home runs, 744 RBI. So there you go. Mike Napoli peak card from the Texas Rangers is in Perfect Team 23. All right, next up on the docket, we got ourselves a low diamond card here, and we go to center field for this one, and we bring you from the Minnesota Twins, 94 overall, Torii Hunter. 68 BABIP, 73 power, 76 avoid K, 82 contact, 82 gap power, and 55 on the eye. A little bit better against lefties than he is against righties, but very good defense out there in the outfield. 97 range, 102 error, and 93 on the outfield arm. 71 speed, 79 stealing, and 75 base running as well. This guy, mainly a defensive card right here. The bat, a little bit meh, but, there were some good seasons he had with the bat. There were some not so good seasons he had with the bat right here. He peaked in the All-Star game. He did peak in the 2001 All-Star game when he robbed that home run from Barry Bonds. That is true. And then there were the Tiger seasons. Do not get me started on the Torii Hunter seasons with the Detroit Tigers, if you would please. Oh, 277, 331, 461 on his career slash line from 1997 to 2015. 353 career homers, 1,391 RBI. He was a 5-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glover, hence the very good defense. 2-time Silver Slugger. Now, from 2001 to 2013, which we're really pretty much calling his peak right here, averaged 23 homers and 13 stolen bases a season. That's pretty good right there. Now, does Torii Hunter have a chance at the Hall of Fame? Who's to say? Maybe he's kind of on the fringes of Hall of Fame candidacy right here. Personality might get him enough votes. We'll see. I'm waiting to see how the ballot kind of shakes out. I honestly forget where when the results are going to be revealed. Is it next month? Might be next month. Not 100% sure. So you're saying we won't be seeing the Tigers retire Tori's number anytime soon? Honestly, I will say this. I think the Boston Red Sox are going to inadvertently make a statue of Torii Hunter flipping over the bullpen wall in Fenway Park before the Tigers retire Torii Hunter's number. Just saying. So there you go. Torii Hunter from the Minnesota Twins in Perfect Team 23. All right, next up, we stay in the outfield and we go to the NL East. And we go to what I personally believe is one of the most important players in Washington Nationals history. And that, my friends, is 94 overall right fielder Jason Worth from the Washington Nationals. 76 BABIP, 91 power, 69 avoid K, 93 contact, 106 gap power, and 86 on the eye. Look at those splits against lefties. Ooh. 77 BABIP, 106 power, 75 avoid K, 103 contact, 121 gap power, and 101 on the eye. Holy cow. Where's the catcher rating? He does not have any eligibility at catcher, unfortunately. However, I do know they did start out as a catcher in the minors with the Orioles. But he got moved off catcher in the minors. Went to the outfield, I do believe. Hang on just a second. There we go. And you know what? He mainly blossomed as a Philadelphia Philly. You know, he had a lot of really good seasons for the Phillies. In fact, you could say he had a better career with the Phillies than he did with the Nationals. But with the Nationals, you know, it was a very important signing in 2010 for the Nationals because it showed that the Nationals, you know, they were starting to become contenders a bit. They had quite a few guys coming up through the system. You had Strasburg, you had Harper, the big two in their history. And Jason Worth was the guy that signaled the start of their contending years. Now, he was very injury prone with the Washington Nationals. However, when he played, he was pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. I mean, let's take a look at some of Jason Worth's seasons here. All right. You know, he had some really good seasons with the Phillies, like I said. Had 36 homers in 2009, 27 of them in 2010. His best season definitely with Washington was probably in 2013. Hit 318 with 25 homers, 82 RBI. Very good season right there. Had another 20 homers, had a couple 20 homers, other 20 homer seasons with the Nationals as well. So, yeah, this is a pretty strong diamond. I do agree with you on that. In his career from 2002 to 2017, he hit 267, 360 on base, 455. Slugging percentage with 229 career homers, 799 RBI. He was a 2009 All-Star with the Phillies with that 36 homer season. 2008 World Series champ with the Phillies. And once again, like I said, most important signing, in my opinion, in Nationals history. Alrighty, so there you go. Yep, so good low diamond card right here. Very good low diamond option, maybe for some low diamond tourneys here, especially with that V left power right there. So also 68 speed, 106 stealing, and 87 on the base running. So there you go. Jason Worth from the Washington Nationals is in Perfect Team 23. All right, let's move on. And once again, you know what? Let's stick in the outfield here, all right? Because there are some interesting outfielders on the Hall of Fame ballot this year. And this is probably one of the more unique ones, I want to say. Because, you know, he had one monster season. And then got injured a ton. All right? So, your mileage may vary with this one because it is 95 overall center fielder from the Boston Red Sox, Jacoby Ellsbury. 77 BABIP, 70 power, 90 avoid K, 94 contact, 93 gap power, and 62 on the eye. A little bit better against righties than he is against lefties. Defensively, not bad as well. 94 range, 102 error, and 56 on the outfield arm. He had nothing on that arm. Can play left field and can play center field as well. Ooh, a 125 fleece Yankees rate. This guy, in some circles, you can make the case that he's very disliked by both the Red Sox and Yankees fan bases, and for pretty darn good reasons right there. Yeah, Brad Kobe Ansbury. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. 103 speed, 106 stealing, and 90 base running. There's at least a positive with that Jacoby Ellsbury right there. Because, he had pretty good stolen base numbers in his career. And I think quite a few people forget that about Jacoby Ellsbury's career. I mean, he started out his career on fire. 70 stolen bases in 2009, 50 of them in 2008, 52 of them in 2013. 39 stolen bases in that 30-30 weird season of 2011 where he actually hit 32 homers. That still blows my mind that he had the capability to hit 32 homers in a season. Like, what the hell? But you know what? We all know that the better player won MVP that year, and that was Justin Verlander in 2011. Either way, from 2007 to 2017, he hit 284, 342, 417 with 104 homers, 512 RBI, 30% of those homers coming into that 2011 season. He was a 2011 All-Star, led the AL in stolen bases 3 times, led the AL in doubles as well in 2009. Actually, no, he led the AL in triples in 2009. That's on me. He had 10 of them that year. And he finished second in MVP in 2011 with that 32 home run season. Yeah, and then his legs fell off after the 2017 season. Or heck, way before then, really. Yep, so there you go. Jacoby Ellsbury from the Boston Red Sox in Perfect Team 23. All right, let's go ahead and stick in the NLE and the AL East with our next card of the evening, and we go to the pitcher's mound for our next player. And you know what? We're going to go to the Red Sox rivals, the New York Yankees, which is where we will find our next player, 96 overall left-handed pitcher, Andy Pettitte. 73 stuff, 105 movement, 83 control. A lot better against lefties than he is against righties. 77 stuff, 111 movement, and 85 on the control. Kind of serviceable against righties as well. 72 stuff, 104 movement, 83 control. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, sinker, and cutter combo on this one. 94 stamina and 105 on the hold runners. 92 to 94 on the velocity. Now, Andy Pettitte had a pretty solid career. Both the Yankees, and a lot of people forget that he had a few years with the Houston Astros as well, and was actually on the World Series team. Well, at least the Astros team that made the World Series in that 2005 series. So, very interesting right there. But from 1995 to 2013, Andy Pettitte, a very, very good pitcher. 256 and 153 on his career record, 3.85 ERA, a 1.17 ERA plus. He was a 3-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champ, and he won 21 games in the 96 and 01 seasons, and finished top 6 in the Cy Young Award voting 5 times. Finished 2nd in 96, 5th in 1997, 4th in 2000, 6th in 2003, 5th in 2005. So there you go, Andy Pettitte. Solid card, I would think, especially with the big movement on this one. Pretty decent-ish on the control. So there you go. Andy Pettitte from the New York Yankees is in Perfect Team 23. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next player. And this is probably one of the more underappreciated pitchers of the last couple of decades. or so. He played out west, which I don't know if it helped or hurt his case a little bit, but you know what? He had a solid career. Probably won't be in the Hall of Fame, but he was pretty good for the San Francisco Giants when he played. And that, my friends, is right-handed pitcher, 97 overall, Matt Cain. Matt Cain, 85 stuff, 93 movement, 84 on the control. A little bit better against righties than he is against lefties. 88 stuff, 90 movement, 88 control, but a little bit more movement against lefties as well. 82 stuff, 97 movement, 81 control. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, sinker combo. 94 stamina and 45 on the hold runners. Matt Cain, this guy was an absolute stud for the San Francisco Giants. Straight up. Between 2005 and 2012. Well, let's go with 2006. Because, 2005 he only pitched in 7 games. When you look at his 2006 to 2012, the peak of his career, win-loss percentage, just a little bit over 500, 83 and 77. But a 3.3 ERA, 123 ERA plus, a 3.63 FIP. So got a little bit lucky there. Averaged about 213 innings pitched a season. So this guy ate a lot of innings, struck out 7.5 batters per 9, 123 ERA plus, like I said, led the National League in complete games in 2009 with 4 of them, when he had a 2.89 ERA, 14-8 record. But I mean, he played on some of those Giants teams that weren't very good in those mid-2000s, late 2000s seasons. Really wasn't until 2010 when the Giants became good that he started to get a little more recognition. But I mean, he'd been a pretty good pitcher up until that point. Won the 2012 and 2010 and 2014 World Series with the San Francisco Giants. Actually, no. Well, he was a 3-time champ. Right? No, 2 times. 2 times? 2 times. 2 times. So I swore the Giants won in 2014. Anyway. Either way, Matt Cain, 3-time All-Star. Went 104, 118, a 3.68 ERA in his career, 7.3 Ks per 9, 3.1 walks per 9. And yeah, just looking at the stats, Jay Maxwell, peak Matt Cain ruled. An absolute gamer on the mound with injuries derailing what could have been a Hall of Fame career. Yeah, because I mean, after that 2012 season, he just kind of fell right off. I mean, 2013 went to 8-10 with a 4 ERA. First time since 2006 he had an ERA above 4. Then went to 4.18 in 2014 in just 15 starts. Pitched only 13 games in 2015. And then just kind of went downhill from there. ERAs in the high 5s in 2015, 2016, 2017. He just really fell off pretty much due to injuries right there. Oof. But you know what? When he was on, this guy was on. Matt Cain from the San Francisco Giants in Perfect Team 23. All right, next up on the docket now. If you remember at the top of the show, I said that there might be maybe some future Hall of Famers. Maybe guys that aren't on the ballot quite yet. And you know what? We have one of those guys on here tonight. Because this guy, he retired at the end of this year. And, he's pretty much going to be a consensus Hall of Famer. Very, very, when he gets eligible. All right? So he decided, you know what? He's going to be a Hall of Famer anyway. Let's put him in here. Ladies and gentlemen, from the St. Louis Cardinals, 100 overall, Yadier Molina. 88 BABIP, 52 power, 101 avoid K, 100 contact, 102 gap power, and 59 on the eye. Look at the catcher defense right there. 106 catcher ability, 113 catcher arm. Holy cats. That is some insane defense right there. And that defense, and, you can say what you want about leadership of those Cardinals teams. Probably going to be what gets them in the Hall of Fame. Let's be honest with ourselves here. A little bit better against lefties than he is against righties. 89 BABIP, 61 power, 104 avoid K, 106 contact, 120 gap, and 69 I against lefties. Plus 10 if paired with Wainwright? I don't know. Maybe. 42 speed, 69 stealing, and 66 on the base running. You know what? Either way, he had a solid career for a catcher. Let's be honest. 2004 to 2022. All of them with the Cardinals. 277, 327, 399 on the slash line, 176 homers, 1,022 RBI. So the batting stats, they don't really pop out at you, really. But when you look at the defensive stats here, 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove, 4-time Platinum Glove, and he is first all-time among catchers in putouts and second all-time among catchers in defensive runs saved with 130. That's pretty darn good. That's a pretty darn good track record right there. Now, you could definitely make the case that Buster Posey is better, but you know what? Yari Molina, pretty good in his own right. Pretty darn good. 54 sack bunt, 42 on the bunt for hits. Pretty darn good there. So there you go. Yadier Molina from the St. Louis Cardinals in Perfect Team 23. He's no Gary Sanchez. I don't even think Gary Sanchez was no Gary Sanchez, but here we go. Here we are. All right, next up. All right, let's get back to the Hall of Fame ballot. And let's get to our next player. Oh, man. This guy. There's a lot of things this guy's famous for. And, Nico, if you're here, cover your ears. He is probably most famous for looking at a Adam Wainwright curveball for strike 3 in the 2006 National League Championship Series to end that series with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Ladies and gentlemen, 100 overall, Carlos Beltran. 65 BABIP, 119 power, 78 avoid K, 100 contact, 111 gap, and 85 on the eye. Can play center field, can play right field as well. Oh, and I got Rich too. A little bit better against lefties in some categories than he is against righties. However, you're going to get a little more eye against righties, a little bit more gap power, a little better contact, a little better power against lefties as well. This is pretty interesting here. Can play center field, can play right field. 90 range, 90 error, and 111 on the outfield arm. So pretty interesting defensively. Maybe more of a right field card than a center field card, just given the range potentially. 90 speed, 116 stealing, and 103 on the base running. That's not bad. That's not bad. And you know what? Need the picture of the dog pulling the plug for technical difficulty. Look, Nico, I had to. What else was I gonna say? Buzzers? From 1998 to 2017 for Carlos Beltran, 279, 350, 486, 435 home runs, 1,587 RBI in his career. 1999, Rookie of the Year with the Kansas City Royals. He was a 9-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, and he is just one of 5 players in MLB history. One of 5 players in all of baseball history, with 400 or more homers and 300 or more stolen bases. That's pretty phenomenal company to keep. And let me just double check that real quick, because I want to tell you the other 4 in that category, because that's pretty darn good company to keep right here. So the other players in that elite class are Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Willie Mays, Andre Dawson. That's it. That's it. So Carlos Beltran, pretty good company, probably going to make the Hall of Fame someday. I don't know if it's going to be this year because, well, we all know 2017 happened. But he was a very solid player in his career otherwise. And we'll see where the chips fall with Carlos Beltran in terms of the Hall of Fame voting. So there you go. Carlos Beltran from the New York Mets in Perfect Team 23. All right. Next up, man, oh man. You know, this next guy, burst onto the scene in the 2002 playoffs as a rookie, blowing gas by batters, helping out in that 2002 World Series. And you know what? He became probably the best closer in Angels history. Ladies and gentlemen, from the LA Angels, 100 overall, Francisco Rodriguez. 135 stuff, 109 movement, 87 control. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup combo on this guy. A little bit better against righties than he is against lefties. 138 stuff, 107 movement, 88 on the control. 131 stuff, 111 movement, 86 control against lefties. 15 stamina, and whoo, yikers, that hold runners. But man, oh man, Francisco Rodriguez, the all-time single-season saves leader in Major League history with that 62 save season. Yep, he's also a Baltimore Oriole legend. He is also, for some reason, a Detroit Tigers legend, though we all know how that tenure went with the Tigers. Yep, 62 saves in 2008. Led the American League in saves two other times in 2005 and 2006. He was a 6-time All-Star and holds the MLB record. 948 games in his career, 437 career saves, 2.86 ERA, and 10.5 strikeouts per 9 in his career. Isn't he the youngest player to play in a World Series? I'm not 100% sure on that statistic, but that'd be pretty cool if that was true. Elite dancing ability while Luis Castillo gives up the game-winning run. I know exactly what you're talking about. Burner guy. Oh my God. Yeah, K-Rod's 08 was so fun. You know, the Angels in 2008, they had a propensity to play a lot of one-run games. They had a tendency to play in a lot of one-run games, and you know what? K-Rod closed a lot of them there. Oh, man. So, K-Rod, you know, he had some very good seasons. I mean, he had some good seasons in New York as well. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Had 35 saves his first season in 2009. We all know what happened in 2009. 2010, a 2.20 ERA. Started with the Mets, went to Milwaukee in 2011, I believe at the deadline. And then from Milwaukee, he went to Baltimore and then back to Milwaukee for a couple years where he actually was an all-star in 2014 and 2015. And then for some reason, the Tigers decided to acquire him in 2016 for Manny Pena. Still not sure what to think about that one, but I keep seeing that 7.82 ERA in 28 games in 2017, and I'm thinking, No. But anyway, Francisco Rodriguez, very good strikeout guy, some pretty good movement. The control's a little bit iffy. But, his walk rate in his career was kind of around, 3.6? So the walks were kind of there. So there you go. Francisco Rodriguez from the LA Angels is in. Perfect team 23. All right, we got just 2 more cards for you tonight. And oh boy, this next one. Y'all, if you like closers, if you like absolute domination in the 9th inning, this guy, I called Matt Cain probably one of the more underappreciated pitchers of the last 20 years. This guy right here, oh man, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame, in my personal opinion, because of just how dominant he was in his career. Well, Hall of Fame, relievers, But you know what? This guy should be in 100 overall from the Houston Astros. Lefty closer, Billy Wagner. 154 stuff, 101 movement, 95 control. Look at those splits against lefties. 180 stuff, 118 movement, 98 control. A little bit serviceable against righties as well. 145 stuff, 95 movement, 94 on the control. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup combo. Look at that slider. 110 on the slider. Oh my goodness. That is a crazy slider right there. And he threw a crazy slider in his career. Y'all, this guy probably one of the greatest left-handed relievers of all time, if not the greatest left-handed reliever of all time, in my personal opinion. This guy only had one season with an ERA above 3. And that was a 6.18 season in 2000 where he only pitched in 28 games. 2.31 career ERA in his career. 853 games, 422 saves, 11.9 strikeouts per 9 in his career. That is the best strikeout rate in history among relief pitchers in baseball history. His 187 batting average against is the lowest in baseball history. 12 seasons of 20 or more saves. He was a 7-time All-Star. Yeah, this guy, 5'10", 180, small dude, threw gas. The story goes, he broke his arm so many times as a kid that he learned to throw lefty. This guy's a natural righty. He threw lefty at 100 miles an hour. This guy's dang good. Man, oh man. This guy, absolutely dominant, should be a Hall of Famer. Fly ball pitcher, 97 to 99 on the velocity right there. 18 stamina, 31 on the hold runners as well. So there you go. Billy Wagner, who should be a Hall of Famer from the Houston Astros in Perfect Team 23. All right, our final card of the evening. Our final card of the evening. This guy is probably going to get voted in this year. And, this guy, solid defender, solid hitter. Ladies and gentlemen, from the St. Louis Cardinals, 100 overall, third baseman, Scott Rowland. 83 BABIP, 98 power, 86 avoid K, 108 contact, 118 gap, and 92 on the eye. Look at the V-left splits here. 83 BABIP, 101 power, 86 avoid K, 110 contact, 125 gap power, and 95 on the eye. Pretty good defense over at third base as well. 90 range, 92 error, 102 arm, and 57 on the turn double play. 52 speed, 90 stealing, and 70 on the base running. In his career from 1996 to 2012, hit 281, 364, 490 with 316 homers and 1,287 RBI. He was a 1997 Rookie of the Year, a 7-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glover, averaged 286 with 25 homers from 97 to 2006, so a very good time period there, with 14.2 defensive wins above replacement in that span. That's a pretty good number right there. Wrapped up 70.1 WAR in his career as well. Pretty darn good stuff right there. Yep, he pretty much he started out with the Phillies, traded in mid-2002 to the Cardinals. He had a brief appearance with the Toronto Blue Jays in, I believe, 2008. Yep, I do remember that Toronto tenure, because it was the one I remember from MLB Power Pros. They went to Cincinnati for the last few years of his career. Had one good season in Cincy at age 35. But, some of his best years, he had some very good years in St. Louis. 34 homers in 2004, had 22 in 2006. But, his power numbers, his big power numbers, came with the Philadelphia Phillies. Had pretty much 20 or more homers in all but one of his seasons. 1996, short year, pretty much a call-up at that point. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight seasons with 20 or more homers with the Phillies. That's pretty darn good right there. 52 speed, 90 stealing, 70 on the base running. This guy, solid hitter, solid defender in his career. This guy probably, if there's anybody that's going to get voted in the Hall of Fame this year, my bet's probably going to be on Scott Rowland. More than likely. So there you go. Scott Rowland from the St. Louis Cardinals in Perfect Team 23. So there you go. There's our Hall of Famers set tonight. Bronson Arroyo, Jared Weaver, Mike Napoli, Jason Worth, Torrey Hunter, Jacoby Ellsbury, Andy Pettit, Matt Cain, Billy Wagner, Carlos Beltran, Francisco Rodriguez, Scott Rowland, and Yadier Molina. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and go now to our tournament standings before we sign off for the evening. Congratulations to last week's tournament top 10. In the daily traditional tournaments, it was Red Eclipse and the Palatine Plutos in first place with 245 points. DPL 1 and the Bard Owls with 235 points in second place. Dr. Sox and the Walking Dead in third place with 192 points. Beham Bells, Issa Dafo, KC86, Holofant, Tokyo, DC Cubs 44, and Evil Smokey Bear rounding out the top 10. In the weekly traditional tournaments, you have BKN Mets fan and the Park Slope Bourbon Bros in first place with 131 points. Issa Dafo and the Florence Baycats in second with 131. Bit of a tie for first right there. Mac Jacks in third place with 120 points with the San Angelo Warbirds. Waddy 3, Fraser, RDT 24, Esther 31, X DeForest, C. Steinhardt, and Glevin 37-37 rounding out the top 10. In the Perfect Draft tournaments last week, Admiral Relativity in the daily Perfect Draft realm with those Lamorindo Star Crushers taking first place with 70 points. EVC and NYC FM in the Fernando Maniacs in second place with 64 points. Choco Taco and the Tuscaloosa Tacos in third place with 63 points. Teddy Grams 2, Connolly 206B, Dr. Obvious, Preacher Boy 13, Renaris, Chadwick's 22, and G Funky 24 rounding out the top 10. In the weekly perfect draft realm, you have Laertes 2 in first place. And, well, Mr. Audit tied for first there with 55 points each. Beham Bells and the Bellingham Bells in third place with 47 points. SPM, I Shilly, Caleb 1722, Cyrus Bell, Conrad, Metadurden, and Cheshire 0214, rounding out the top 10. All right, for this week so far, as of 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time today, here's how the standings look like right now. In the daily traditional tournament, Red Eclipse once again in first place with 101 points so far this week. BM Bells and the Bellingham Bells in second place with 97 points. Dr. Socks and the Walking Dead in third with 91. Ace Rutherford, Chino 2, DC Cubs 44, JDA, Randall D, Admiral Relativity, and Issa Dafo, rounding out the top 10. In the weekly traditional tournament so far this week, Mac Jacks and the San Angelo Warbirds in first place with 70 points. Astor 31 and the Minneapolis Millers in second with 55. Glevin 37-37 and the Oakwood Wolverines in third with 52 points. X Cookie 2X, Zagtastic, Chino 2, D Horner MB, X to 4, Scabro number 1, and D Kudla, rounding out the top 10. And in the perfect draft realm, in the daily perfect drafts, GCK Ritzer and Tippecanoe Terrors in first place with 49 points. West 33 and the Williamsport Crosscutters in second place with 42. Cedo 2 and the Topanga Wolfpack in third with 42 points as well. Cryptid Kong, Nate 1105, Leo Remus, Holophant, Khan, K-Doug, and Nasty Peanut, rounding out the top 10. And finally, in the weekly perfect draft tournaments, Isadafo 2 and the Newbern Blue Hens in first place with 45 points. I Shilly and the Winnipeg Loons in second with 32. Majungasaurus and the Cretaceous Creatures in third with 26. And that's the pack-only boys. Pat Red, 75,000. One Luigi, 1. Mr. Big Nose, Curly Karkavis, and MN Climus, and Buta, 2050, rounding out the top 10. So there you go. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's episode of This Week in Perfect Team. Next week, oh man. Now, I said last week we would have a special guest. Well, I screwed up my internal schedule. Next week, we're going to have a special guest on the stream to reveal a set that's going to be pretty darn cool right there. So, I'll see you next week for that. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to do the This Week in Perfect Team Friday Showdown, unless I don't feel so good. I'll let you know on that. But that's coming up soon as well. And then on Sunday night, we'll be doing the Perfect League World Series. So have a good night, everybody. Have a great night. DishNet34, signing out. Have a great night, everybody.